Good morning. Happy Monday. There's no way that there's not a glare on here unless I just sit and talk like this. Things are going so well. I think it's been several weeks since we vlogged last. I have so much to catch you up on. Like clockwork, there's always a siren. So I think we'll sit and we'll do like the whole catch up later. We are working on Tell Me It's Wrong this morning. I have officially made it through everything that I wanted to. I got my feedback returned from my second round of betas, made a list of things that I wanted to tweak from that feedback. Already finished all of that. So we're like done with edits for this book now. It's supposed to go to my proofreader exactly a month from today. And honestly, I feel like I could have it done within the next couple of days. So it's gonna be done like a full month early, which is really exciting. Yeah, so I'm still like, I've already done a line edit. I think I'm gonna go through one more time while I'm doing my proofread and potentially tweak some things. So what I'm planning on doing today, I'll put a screenshot up too so I don't forget. Oh, this is what our word count looks like. Currently just over 88,000. This isn't the notebook that I wanted, hold on. I have 8 million things. This is the one. This is the one. We're gonna do crutch words today. So I have some that some of my beta readers actually pointed out, so very helpful, thank you, that were like specific to this book. And then I have ones that I just know are some of mine from book to book, and I have old lists in here, so that's why I'm gonna go through this, make a list, go through the crutch words, and once we're done with that step, I think I'm going to format it and export it to my Kindle and do my proofread over there. That's what I did for book 1 in this series, and that helped a lot. So that's today's task. I've also been writing, I think we talked about that in the previous vlog. I've been writing Cam's book and then also Sweet Spire book 3, so I have updates on that. I have some exciting publishing news and stuff, so we'll chat later on updates and stuff. I just wanted to have some kind of clip because if I don't start a vlog, I will just forget and we'll go weeks without vlogging, so here's the starting point. Also, yes, I did quite enjoy the Super Bowl. Not as much as my dad did. He was out of his mind. And I think he rewatched the entire thing for like 3 times in the following days and watched like every interview possible. It's been a good time for the family. Just a few that we're gonna start with. There are many more. This was book 1's list. Don't even know which book this was for, another list. More, you get the idea. This is a new one. This has never shown up in one of my books before, but in this last round, my beta reader commented that this was used a lot. And that is a lot. 13 times, and I think I already deleted one. Like, how random. Hello, let me help her. I would like some attention, please. That one was easy, got it down to 6. Look at Dean. Sleeping on a job. Okay, so this is another one my beta reader pointed out. So there's only 2. But they must be close together if she noticed it, so we'll take a look at them. Actually, you like them both. We're gonna leave it. That one wasn't too bad either. We had 7, got it down to 4. This one's probably gonna be a kicker. Every time, man. It's the next day. Happy Tuesday. We have a Mr. Dean. And a Maxine. And a Max. We finished just yesterday, got it down to 305. I'm working on Cam's book currently. Have not done much. I've written like 100 words. I've been having to go through some notes and stuff. Yesterday and today I've been working on Sweet Spire book 3, so I've added a little over 1,000 between last night and this morning. And I've also been working on like getting stuff ready for release for Tell Me It's Wrong. So we are editing Tell Me It's Wrong, working on release stuff, and then writing 2 other books. So if you didn't see it, the ARC applications and PR box applications for Tell Me It's Wrong are now open. I'll have the links down below. Lots of things to juggle, but I am quite enjoying it. I don't know what's gotten into me. I haven't worked on this many books all at the same time in a while, but I'm like thriving. I'm enjoying it. I am actually thinking about other books I want to be working on too. It's not good. Would be quicker to finish things if I focus on one thing at a time, but it's helpful when I'm doing such different things like cutting crutch words and writing a rough draft. Like when I get sick of one, or if I get stuck, I just switch over to the other thing and it's a completely different task. So it makes me feel like I can actually be more productive because I can keep working for longer. So anyway, in Cam's book, I'm about 9,000 words in so far, and then Sweet Spire book 3, I'm at 2,500. I just finished the first chapter, so now we're moving over to the love interest point of view. It's like 9 in the morning. It's Wednesday. This is how many words we've cut. The list has grown. It's going well. This is, some words are fun because there's only like 15 of them. I can fly through them really fast, and some of them have like 500 words, and going through them one by the end of it, it no longer sounds like a word, and it takes like over an hour to do one word. So So it's a little tedious, but we're getting through it. Happy Thursday. That's my printer. Dean and I are watching Survivor and working on the crutch words. Don't mind my face is like really red. There's a cat hair on you. I dermaplaned and gave myself a facial this morning. Took out all the trash, all the recycling, ordered some breakfast. Now we're gonna lock in and work on this book for a few hours. Send off some mail. I've been getting a lot of signed book orders lately, which is unusual because I haven't been like advertising it. So I don't know where they're coming from. Oh, there's stuff in my teeth. I just had a breakfast burrito and it was delicious. So we've moved on to some of the more difficult crutch words, which is slowing me down a lot. They're always the ones I dread. I have to do with every book and I hate them. They're all the things that have to do with eyes. So eyes literally being one, and then like look, gaze, glance, all of those. I hate doing them, but it makes such a difference. So I already did eyes, we've moved on to gaze. Eyes is always the worst one, so at least we got through that. I haven't written anything, I don't think, since I updated you last for like rough draft stuff, but I'm hoping to do a little bit of writing today in addition to editing stuff. And I am hoping to get through, I feel like if not today, I can be done with the crutch words by tomorrow, and then I can start just my general copy edit proofread. I say it like that because I kind of cleaned up the book as I was going through the last round of edits. It's already really clean, so it needs something between a copy edit and a proofread. It's mostly already copy edited, but it's slightly more than a proofread because I know there are still some copy editing things that I wasn't really paying attention to. So it needs a very fancy proofread basically. And I was gonna wait until I like looked decent one day to sit down and like actually update you, but since I did that to my face, I'm not going to put any makeup on it. I just want to let my skin breathe today. So let me find my tripod, we'll chat. It's like a mountain of blankets behind me. I overdid it. So I have been resting for the past like week or so. I like really strained my hip flexor, and unfortunately I was in denial about it, and I just like kept up with my running and stuff as usual for like a month. And it just kept hurting. I was just like, I would like go take it easy for like a day or two, it would feel better, I would go back to normal, it would hurt again. Don't do what I did. So I finally decided like, okay, we need like an actual break. And I was like taking it easier where I was running less. I was still running like as many days in a week, but I was doing lower mileage thinking that would help. I needed like a full week off, and now finally it feels a little bit better. Better that I, you know, rest it now than keep potentially making it worse, and then I have plenty of time before my races at least still. So that's an update. I don't think I told you. You know, I have the marathon in November, but I also have a half marathon on July 4th actually. So that's what I'm training for right now, is that half. And I was planning on just doing it myself, and then I told my mom about it, and she gets FOMO, so she's gonna come and do it with me. I feel like I had a lot of other updates. It's been so long. Right, I think I might have said this in a previous clip. You could now apply for an ARC or PR box if Tell Me It's Wrong. I'll have links down below. I'm looking for a note that I made on my laptop because I started to make a list of things I needed to update on for my newsletter, so that'll help me here. Or I thought I did. I don't know. Anyway, that video that I made talking about marketing did better than I've had a video do in forever. It was very bizarre. So thank you guys so much for like watching and interacting with it. That initial interaction period from you guys whenever I post a video is part of what tells YouTube to suggest it to other people, so thank you. My books are also doing really well right now. I've been doing the things that I was saying in that video, marketing a lot, and funnily enough, guess what book is selling the best right now? Guess. Broken Perfect Lies. I have been saying for years, like, this book has never had its moment, maybe one day it will. I think she's having her moment right now. Not as like crazy as any of the other ones, but I feel like it's at like the start of it, and if I keep posting about it, I think we could get her there. So I'm kind of tweaking my focus, and not really, just posting about that, posting more often in general, and then sprinkling in more about that one. Tell Me It's Right and the Marionettes are still my priority, but Broken Perfect Lies is like a close third. And then every once in a while I will remember to post something about the anti-relationship here. So the biggest announcement, if you're a member of my Patreon page and the For the Readers tier, you've already seen all of these announcements because they get to hear everything first. But the biggest one is that the Sweet Spire series is officially coming to audio. I've been getting a decent amount of requests for an audiobook, and I'm really, really excited with the way that these are going to be coming into being. So in the past, I've produced all of my own audiobooks. I have 6. I have all of the Marionettes books and the Pact books. And I knew if I was going to do audiobooks for the Sweet Spire series, I didn't want to do that. I knew I wanted to try something new. I mean, you guys know, you follow my videos, I like to treat each book as an experiment, try something new, and I want to try everything once and just see how it goes. So for this series in particular, I knew even before I published the first book, like I had my sights set on selling the audio rights for this series. Like that was the thing that I wanted to try. And so that's what we did. I ended up signing with Podium for all 4 planned books in the Sweet Spire series. So they will be producing all 4 of those books, which I'm really, really excited about for a lot of different reasons. One, I just wanted to try something different, and I have quite a few friends who've worked with Podium in the past, so like I specifically had my sights set on them. And I feel like just in general I have gotten to a point in my career within like the last year or so where I'm like uncomfortable. I'm like on the verge of being able to scale to a different level, but I cannot do that continuing to do things the way that I'm doing it now, which is to say me doing everything myself. So I'm in this like discomfort resistance period where I'm trying to figure out how am I going to delegate in order to be able to scale, because there's only so many hours in a day, and if I'm doing everything myself, you can only scale so far that way. And I'm a bit of a control freak. I like doing everything myself, so it's been tricky. So the one thing that I felt would be easy to take off my plate and let someone else handle was the audiobooks. And audiobooks can be so time consuming making them yourself, especially for these books, because these books are all 2 POV, so I would need 2 narrators for each book, which also makes them really expensive up front if you're going to produce them yourself. So it's a huge financial commitment, a huge time commitment to find the narrators in the first place, and then to listen to every single thing that they send you and make sure not only does it sound good, but then also like, did they make mistakes? Did they read that sentence wrong? Like it's such a time commitment making audiobooks. So this is kind of, I'm excited about this because it's like a new thing to experience, but it's also one thing off my plate that would have been such a time commitment to the point where I knew I didn't have the time to do it. So they just weren't gonna happen. I just wasn't gonna make the audiobooks until I had the time, which was potentially never. And because the first book in the series is so freaking long, it's like 104,000 words, which I forgot about until I had to send Podium the script. And I was looking at the word count, I was like, damn, it was really that long? That long with 2 narrators? If I had paid for it myself, we're talking like a minimum of $4,000 for that audiobook up front, minimum. If I wanted like really experienced big name narrators, it would have been more than that. And that's for a dual narration audiobook. If I want a duet, even more expensive. So we could round it up probably on average about $5,000 per audiobook in this series. That would have been a $20,000 investment for me to make these audiobooks. And then also, even when you produce them, anyway, I'm like really getting into the behind the scenes of audiobook stuff. Anyway, it would have been a while before I saw that back. If you're interested in more on like the behind the scenes stuff on audiobooks, I have made content before. I have this one on Patreon, which is just like my lifetime experience of working with my audiobooks, the lifetime sales that I had seen at that point, how I made my money back, how much money did I invest into them, just like my general experience. And then I have an older video here on YouTube that looks like this, which is just talking about like how to do it. It's pretty old, but I'm assuming it stands up. Anyway, what was I saying? I got a little off track. Podium's making the audiobooks, so I don't have to pay any money up front. That's off my plate, much less of a time commitment. And I'm really excited about the potential because they have connections with so many amazing narrators. I'm sure they're gonna find some great ones, and the production quality is gonna be great. I'm just really looking forward to it. So the thing that I was talking about in I think the last vlog about getting an offer and needing to sign the contract and negotiate, that was what it was for. Unfortunately, even though I'm usually super transparent about numbers and I'm perfectly happy just like sharing whatever, I can't share specifically things about this because there was a confidentiality clause in my contract. Otherwise I would tell you, otherwise I would. So I can tell you this though, if you're interested in working with them or any other audio production company and having to negotiate and whatnot yourself. I did a lot of research before I spoke to them, and by research I mean I looked at Reddit, Facebook groups, anywhere other authors who had worked with them before were talking, and I looked to see them talk about the ranges and stuff. I don't know how they were able to talk about it if they have these confidentiality agreements as well, but I saw a lot of people giving advice of like what to expect from them and what kind of range they typically offer. So I went in the back of my mind knowing this is like the most that I saw anyone get from them, so this seems to be the most that they will go up to. And a lot of people warned ahead of time they're gonna lowball you, which everybody does when it comes to negotiating with brand deals, with like everybody does. So I went in expecting them not to offer in advance because that seems to be what most people said was normal for them. They did offer me in advance, and then they offer royalties per book sold. And from what I've heard is they sometimes will offer just like a flat out royalty, and sometimes they'll do like these tiered deals where you get a certain royalty for this number of copies, say till 2,000, and then once you've sold 2,000, then you move up to a higher royalty percentage. So my advice would be just to, you can find all the same information that I found, do some research, and then when you're negotiating with them, ask for more than you actually want, because they're going to negotiate down and then you'll end up somewhere closer to where you want. I can tell you that they did not meet exactly what I wanted, but I'm very, very happy with the deal that I got from them. They sent me an offer, I negotiated, they offered a little bit lower than what I negotiated. I tried to bump it up a little bit more. They said no, that's their best offer, so I got their second offer, and that's what I ended up going with. So don't be afraid to ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. I think it's really important going into negotiations to know your worth and to know what you offer. I think it's helpful for me because I have so many audiobooks out and I have so many books out, and this book has been out for a while, that like I truly knew what value I brought. Like I know how many audiobooks I sell in a year. I know how many ebooks and paperbacks and whatnot this book specifically has already sold. I know how many followers I have. Like I know it's gonna be an expensive audiobook to produce, but I also know you're gonna make that money back within the first year on me. I know I'm about to make you a shit ton of money. So I want my fair share of that. I also know that you are producing the audiobook for me and you're doing all the work. So like, I get that as well. You're taking on all the risk. I don't have to give in anything up front. So just go in with reasonable expectations and like knowing what you bring to the table, and don't be afraid to fight for yourself. And you might be surprised. I ended up getting 4 times what they originally offered me. So don't be afraid to ask. Also, I wanted to add this because I'm sure somebody's gonna ask. So Podium does reach out to authors, but you can also reach out to them, which is what I did. Like I said, this was something that was like on my radar even before I published book 1, that I knew I wanted to do this. So I waited until book 1 was selling well. And they have a little form on their website that you can reach out to them at. And I basically was just like, hey, I'm interested in working with you for this series. Book 1's already out. Book 2's coming out in a few months. I'm planning 4 books. This is how many followers I have across all these different social medias. This is how many copies book 1 has sold in its first 4 months. Let me know, basically. And they got back to me within 24 hours saying they were interested. We had a Zoom call. They sent me an offer the next day. So it was very, very quick, just in case you were curious and wanted to try yourself. I think that was a question that I saw in the previous vlog, because I talked about like my experience with brand deals and sponsorships and stuff. This is a really, really old video, but I'll link it down below. I think everything there is pretty much the same information. The difference being I was a booktuber back then and I do author-tube content now, but it's still the same. I think I recommend a website in that video. I don't use them anymore, but I think they're still a thing. At this point in my career with YouTube, I feel like I'm not the best person to give advice on sponsorships, because this is not my job. This is a hobby to me, and it makes money, which is nice. That's fun, but I'm not dependent on it. So I've gotten to a point where like I'm a take it or leave it kind of person. Like, this is my rate, take it or leave it. If you're not going to pay me what I want to be paid, I would rather just not do it. Like, I don't have a lot of room to negotiate when it comes to YouTube anymore, because I know how much time it takes into it. Like, I can't be bothered. It's not worth it to me. So here's my rate, take it or leave it is kind of the position that I take at this point, unless I'm like really excited to work with a brand and I'm willing to go a little bit lower. I would rather not have a sponsor at all than have to deal with something that I don't feel like is paying me enough to make everything that goes into it worth it. But I will say, when you say no to companies who are only trying to send you a gifted thing, not willing to pay your rates, want you to be like an affiliate or something, I really believe that saying no to all of the wrong opportunities brings in the right opportunities. Because if you're in that like lack mindset of like, well, they're the only offers that I have, like more will come in. You have to have an open mind and believe that better things will come in. If you know your worth, hold your boundaries, stand your ground, more opportunities will come if you're making good content. That got like really off track. I'm really scatterbrained. Did we have any other updates for you? Audiobooks, ARC apps. I feel like there was a third. I don't know. Let me see if there were any other questions on the previous vlog. How do you decide which story idea to pursue if nothing sticks out and no character voice is louder than another? I feel like my answer to this is different now that I'm like this far into my career than it would have been pre-publishing. Before you've ever published anything, it's just a completely different ballgame, because you don't have to think like big picture marketing strategy wise. So every book that I write, like I'm thinking 2 or 3 years ahead, and I'm thinking, where does that fit into my backlist? And so my decisions are less like inspiration based and more business based. So like, I know I'm in the middle of this series. I know priority needs to be finishing this series before I start a new one. I know I don't want to go this long between publishing books in the same genre. I know I can only write this many books in a year. So like right now I have 4 books that I've either started or I want to start, and I have a pecking order, and I know I need to get through these before I can get to any new idea. So if your plan is to publish, I think making that plan for your career could help you establish some priorities. What are your goals? How fast do you write? What do you see for yourself with your career? Not just now, look 5-10 years in the future. What genres do you want to be writing? How many books do you want to be releasing each year? If it's a series, realistically, how quickly can you get them out? If you're putting other books in the middle of those series, it's tough when you have big spaces between releases in a series. Lots of things to consider. Again, if your plan is to publish, another thing to consider is just like what the market looks like right now. That also goes into how quickly you write, because it is harder to write to market if you're a slower writer, because it may have passed, things may have moved on by the time you're done with the book. Inspiration is fleeting. You can't depend on that to make your decisions for you. Do you think you'd ever do a fantasy book with multiple point of views, 3 to 4? I don't know if I would do something with that many. I do have another fantasy series that I want to start once I'm done with Katesbook and once I'm done with the Sweetspire books, and I don't know actually how many POVs it's going to be. It's going to have at least 2. That one though could potentially have 4, because I would have 2 main girl characters. Minor sneak peek spoilers, and so then the way that it would be 4 is if I want to do a POV for each of their love interests as well. So potentially, we'll see. I have written books with that many POVs before, like before I started publishing, and one was a fantasy, and I think it had 4 POVs, and I still have it actually. I have it printed out in a binder in my closet. I found it the other day. Writing with that many POVs is fun. It's a big commitment, especially with a series that just leads to really long books, because you need to develop that many characters and their arcs, and then depending on how long the series is, things get complicated tying things together. My Marionettes series was complicated enough trying to tie everything together with one POV. Any plans to write a found family trope? I actually think you will very much enjoy Tell Me It's Wrong when it comes out, because found family is a huge theme in this book. I've also gotten some questions on how I pick beta readers, where from, how do you start, all that kind of stuff. This video is also very, very old, like 4 years or so, but I think this is still a great resource for you, because what I do now is not helpful at all. I get my beta readers from my audience usually, and I've worked with some for like 5 or more years, or some of them are like people who also have AuthorTube channels, so it's different than the process I would have to go through if I didn't have a platform to source them from, so I'm sorry, I know that's not helpful. I think those are all the questions. If you have any questions for the next vlog, feel free to comment them down below. I think that this clip added to the video, this is going to be such a long vlog, so I actually might end it here. Hopefully the next one's a little more interesting, a little more cohesive. The cutting the crutch words is not a very interesting part of the process, so there is not much for me to show you this week. Thanks for watching. All my links are down below if you want to pre-order Tell Me It's Wrong. Comes out on April 14th. As far as the audiobooks go, also, I should have said this in that section. So we're getting started on book 1 right now, and we'll get started on book 2 once I have the final version to send to them. How long it's going to take, I don't know exactly when they'll be ready. They gave me a range of anywhere from like 4 months to 12 months. So it really depends. The longest part of the process is finding the narrators, and we haven't found them yet. So once we find the narrators, they think it'll be like 4 months from there. So all of that is just to say, if you're interested in the audiobooks and you want to wait for them, that's cool, I understand. But especially for this second book, it's not going to come out at the same time as release. But ideally, my hope is for books 3 and book 4 in this series to have them ready early enough that the audiobooks can get started well before release, so they can come out closer to release for books 3 and 4. But 1 and 2, you're gonna have a bit of a wait for while we get started on those. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video very, very soon.